Lesson 10, How to Practice Active Listening. In this lesson, you'll see how Agile Adventurer Ana learns a simple way to practice active listening. You'll follow her story as she uses the 5-step active listening practice checklist. By the end of this lesson, you'll have an easy way to practice your active listening skills, as well as an accessible checklist that keeps you practicing. You'll also receive a bonus resource in this lesson called the Practice Triad. That'll give you a proven practice protocol that was developed and battle tested with thousands of people by the International Coaching Federation. So here's the easy 5-step active listening practice checklist that Kathy shared with Anna. Number 1, get together with somebody else. It's better if that's not a family member or a friend. It's just easier. So number 2, take a moment to think of something that you really love, like a particular interest or hobby, maybe a recent vacation or a favorite book or film. Number 3, take turns to talk about the thing you love for, say, 2 minutes. When it's your turn to listen, don't ignore the person, but don't let them hook you in either. Think about what you want to say on the subject, or let random thoughts distract you. When you're talking and when you're listening too, notice what each of these is like. Now do it again, but this time when you're listening, really focus. Be fascinated. Be alert to anything that catches your attention, makes you think, wow, or I really want to learn more. Now, step 5, do it a 3rd time. When you're listening this time, try to be aware of what this feels like for the other person. Feel into their energy. Notice the glint in their eye, the animation in their body language. Open up all your senses and be receptive to what the other person may be willing to show you. This is an experiment you can repeat, varying and playing with it as you go. Try choosing different topics, things you hate, things you don't care about. If you're feeling really ambitious, try really taking on what's called level 3 listening by doing the exercise without talking. Just use grunting or body language like, or whatever you like, as long as you don't actually verbalize, and see what you're actually able to hear then. I can tell you honestly, I use this more than any other kind of listening, and it allows me to hear stuff I never would have heard otherwise, because people can tell right away that you're really listening to what they're saying. So the next Thursday, at the next coaching session, Anna and Kathy tried out these steps. Kathy kicked it off. We'll start by me listening to you, so you can experience what active listening feels like on the receiving end. Okay, said Anna. That makes sense. Sounds like an easy way to get into it. Agreed, said Kathy. So she leaned forward, looked Anna directly in the face, and asked, so what's a change you're wanting for yourself, Anna? Anna paused for a minute to think about that. I'd like to get better at active listening in all my Agile activities. I'd like to run a more efficient daily stand-up meeting. It's supposed to take only 15 minutes, but lately it's taking longer. Plus, we're all over the place, and I don't want to waste people's time. So they dove in, with Kathy doing the active listening and Anna talking. After 10 minutes, Kathy said, okay, let's debrief that. What did you learn? Anna leaned back in her chair and thought, well, I learned that active listening is an actual skill that anybody can acquire with practice. But what surprised me is I thought it just meant being quiet and letting the other person talk. But now I realize that active listening is much more than that. It's a whole new level. A whole new level of what? Asked Kathy. Of hearing people, said Anna. It's about me getting genuinely curious about what the other person is trying to say. It's a mindset of curiosity as well as a skill. Exactly, said Kathy. You're getting it. Anna looked back at Kathy. I'm starting to see how valuable this could be for me. I really want it for myself, not just to get better at Agile, but because it's fun and helps me feel more connected with people. But how can I actually acquire it as a skill? I feel like a beginner. And Kathy smiled. We'll get into that. In fact, that's our next coaching session. There's a bonus resource in this lesson called the Practice Triad. This is a proven, time-tested practice approach from the International Coaching Federation. The format is you have a group, small groups of 3 people. I actually did this today with 40 people. I'll split up into triads. And one person in the triad is a coach practicing the skill, in this case active listening. The second person is the coachee, the person receiving the benefit of the skill. The third person is the observer, and that's that person's job to keep time. So you practice the skill for about 3 minutes, 3 to 5, and then you debrief it role by role. And so ask yourselves, so what was it like to be in that role? Like, what did you notice? What did you learn? And then you switch roles till everyone in the group has had a chance to play all 3 roles. In this lesson, you learned a way to actually practice active listening using the 5-step active listening practice checklist. By now, you should have a practical way to practice and grow your active listening skills, as well as a way to build your confidence. You received a bonus resource in this lesson called the Practice Triad, which gave you the proven practice protocol that was developed and battle-tested with thousands of people by the International Coaching Federation. In the next lesson, we'll explore how to do active listening and still get heard.